Good evening. Welcome to Economics 330 Global Trade and Political Economy, City University of New York, MAC. Today is Tuesday, May 12th, 2026. And welcome to today's lecture. And this is the lecture part, of course, of office hour and lecture. And this is, of course, the last module for this course, Global Trade and Political Economy. This week, we will discuss current and developing issues in global political economics. But let me also congratulate everyone for making it to the last week of class. Do you please end the semester on a high note by completing this week's assessment and upcoming final exam. Again, teaching this class continues to be a very rewarding experience for me, and I hope the learning experience has been rewarding for you as well. But before I continue with today's lecture, let me briefly give you yet again an overview of the upcoming final exam. Kindly note that the final exam portal will open on Saturday, May 16th by 12:01 a.m. Eastern Time. Please note that the due date and time to submit the final exam is Tuesday, May 26th, 2026 by 11:59 p.m. Eastern. This submission due date and time is not negotiable. It is hard-coded by the school and the department and the business school on Brightspace, especially because this is spring semester and there are students that need to graduate. So the papers have to be in and grades have to be in within a certain time. So do please be mindful and do not miss the submission due date, which again is Tuesday, May 26th, 2026 by 11:59 p.m. Eastern. There are two parts to your final exam. The first part is a multiple choice section, and the second part is a short answer section. The multiple choice section of your final exam will consist of 25 multiple choice questions on all of the course materials. You will have 2 attempts, and each attempt is timed at 1 hour. The score on the multiple choice part would be an average of the first and second attempt, if you choose to use 2 attempts. The short answer part of the exam is based exclusively on a document that has been posted in the exam folder and Chapter 10, International Economic Development. Please note that the section on Structural Adjustment Program, this is critical. Please download and read the attached document. There are 2 questions in the short answer part of the exam. In responding to these questions, you must not quote or copy any information from the internet or use AI. If you do, you would receive 0 for the entire short answer part. The short answer part is timed at 1 hour and you would have 2 attempts. The second attempt can be used to edit your initial attempt if you are not happy with the first attempt. Just as important, the short answer part of your exam will require the practice of rigorous writing, good grammar, correct punctuations, complete sentences, and complete ideas with minimal spelling or structural syntactic errors. Do you please take this requirement seriously? The rigorous writing is an essential part of the job skill that you're going to need post-graduation. And as a 300 level class, just about everyone in the class is at or close to graduation. Of course, I have also posted detailed instructions for the final exams in the final exam folder. Now, let us get back to today's lecture. As you now know, The three distinct theories in international political economy, the realist, liberal, and critical perspectives, have evolved and influenced each other over time. And some theoretical approaches, such as hegemonic stability theory and regime theory, draw upon more than one of these perspectives. And here's a quick refresher. Regime theory within international relations argues that international institutions or regimes affect the behavior of states or other international actors. Notably, a regime is a set of principles, norms, rules, and decision-making procedures in a given substantive area in international relations. Hegemonic stability theory, or HST, argues that international systems is more likely to remain stable when a single state is the dominant world power or hegemon. Thus, the end of hegemony diminishes the stability of the international system. To help link theory and practice, it may be instructive to focus on three main themes. First, globalization. Second, North-North relations. And third, North-South relations. That said, here are your learning objectives for the week. 1. Analyze contemporary events in global economic environment and explain them in the context of international political economy. An example of contemporary events includes the North-South divide on technology capacity. The Economist magazine, as an example, has reported on the trend of reversed technology transfer in the automobile sector. And let me explain. Until recently, the Chinese government had a 50+2 automobile policy. This was a long-standing rule requiring foreign automobile firms to partner with Chinese state-backed companies to manufacture their cars in China or face huge tariffs on imported vehicles. The 50+2 policy also limited foreign auto manufacturers to 50% ownership cap and no more than 2 joint ventures. This policy often resulted in forced technology transfer from automobile companies in the global north to Chinese automobile companies, which are, of course, in the global south. The Economist magazine reports that this policy so rapidly improves China's automobile technology that by 2025, the flow of technology had reversed. According to The Economist, in a recent presentation on its business in China, executives from Volkswagen, or VW, a major European automobile manufacturer, happily noted that it was leveraging local Chinese partners for technology transfer. BMW, a European maker of posh vehicles, again from the global north, has built up a team of 3,000 local Chinese engineers and software developers and has started collaborating with Chinese firms such as Alibaba, another internet giant, and Huawei, a Chinese maker of telecoms gear that also produces systems for cars. The second learning objective is to critically explain current trends in North-South economic relations. A major current trend in this regard is how politics of protectionism is driving trade tariffs and other non-tariff barriers, which are disrupting the global economy and creating market distortions and international trade disruptions. As one example, in 2025, the BBC reported that President Donald Trump unveiled a $12 billion farm aid package aimed at helping farmers, U.S. farmers that is, impacted by low crop prices and the administration's ongoing trade wars. According to the BBC, while farmers, part of the global north, have broadly supported President Trump, as a demographic. The agriculture sector has been disrupted by protectionist trade disputes during President Trump's second term, particularly with China, a global South country. U.S. sorghum and soybean farmers have been hit hard by falling demand from Chinese buyers due to the Trump administration's trade dispute with China, the greatest importer of their crops. This lays bare the protectionist paradox of the interplay between social systems and governments and their influence on trade policy that exacerbates the paradox between resistance to free trade and desire to grow export markets. This US-China North-South protectionist trade dispute underscored the significance of avoiding a security dilemma or spiral model, where each state's pursuit of national interest, economic power, and security maximization paradoxically make other states feel less secure, thus occasioning countermeasures and a cycle of escalating tensions with consequential undesired outcomes of greater insecurity and intensified threats to interstate peace and commerce. Significantly, subsidies also create market distortions. Indeed, farmer bailout raises fears about trade war winners and losers. The BBC continues that Trump's administration, and I hope that everyone knows that the BBC is short for the British Broadcasting Corporation, which is a big media house with television, website, radio, etc. The BBC continues that the Trump administration's bailout plans for farmers have frustrated many other kinds of businesses that have also been hurt as the new taxes on imports raise costs for firms based in the US and alienate their long-term customers overseas. In the long run, the challenge is that inefficiency and market distortions of subsidy and tariffs eventually leads to higher prices, i.e. inflation, and potentially economic downturn. This, as you may recall, is not a new phenomenon. In the early part of this semester, we covered the infamous Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act of 1930, which dramatically raised duties on thousands of goods to shield American farmers and manufacturers. But the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act also triggered massive global retaliation, sparking trade wars and worsening the Great Depression by collapsing international trade. This economic collapse eventually gave rise to the rules-based trading system of the liberal perspective in international political economy. First, through the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, or GATT, which was later superseded by the World Trade Organization. That said, let me now end this lecture by again reminding the class that next week, our last weekend module will be on preparing for and taking the final exam, which will become available on this Saturday, May 16th, 12:01 a.m. Eastern. Let me again thank each and every one of you for the privilege of being your Economics 330 Global Trade and Political Economy instructor. Again, and I can't say this enough, teaching this class continues to be a very rewarding experience for me, and I hope a rewarding learning experience for you. I wish you good luck with your finals, much success in especially all your academic pursuits, and a very happy summer. Thank you. So with that, I'm going to stop the recording and we'll take questions as they come up. Are you sure you want to stop recording?